Hey, everybody, this is Joe from Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. All that shit's important. We need you to do it if you can. If not, don't worry about it.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this at all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better.
How you like that? You gon' like that? How you like that? How you like that? Now, look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me.
Hey, everybody. On this episode of Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, look who's here.
It's me.
Jake Moe. Don't miss it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. This is season 8, episode 10. It is the official post-reunion episode. I'm here with my man, Jake Moe from Moe Customs, a Joe's Minibike Reunion Hall of Famer, a current 2023 Joe's Minibike Reunion drag racing class champion winner. Congratulations, Jake.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for joining us
Yep.
in the garage. We're back in the garage tonight. This is not a podcast you may have seen of Jake and I, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. Although it's nice to be back in here, isn't it?
Yeah, feels good. Back home.
Yeah. I saw you snooping around a little bit. I don't know that I've added anything new here. If
I might have snuck some stickers in here and there.
Did you?
You'll find them later.
Okay, that's good. I'm sure they're probably around here.
Yeah.
There is some shameless self-promotion going on here, folks. The banners, we had these, we had the caps, we had hoodies. Whose shirt did I have on, Jake?
Monkey Smart Moto Restorations.
This is a nice shirt. It's long sleeve black. Feel the fabric. Love it. So I'm wearing your shirt like I promised, okay? But we had a great reunion. We're going to get into some of the juicy details, who won what. We'll take a look at some of the highlights. We'll take a look at the award winners. We'll even delve into some things that we recognized that we loved at this year's show, as well as some things that maybe we want to improve on to make it a better event. We're always trying to make it a little bit better, and we couldn't do it without the help from our sponsors, our friends at GoKart USA, our friends from Go Power Sports, our friends from Studs Racing, our friends from Small Engine Cams, locally our friends from Campbell Automotive, as well as all of the participants who came and entered their bikes. Thank you, guys. I want to thank all of our exhibitors, and I'll list who those folks were as well a little bit later on in the podcast, but Jake, you had asked what I thought about the event, and by the numbers, we had about 235 registered bikes. Out of that number, that included folks that pre-registered, who also signed up on site, and it did not include many of the bikes that were on display, for example, in some of the exhibitors' booths. F&B, for example, or maybe Steady Garage. A lot of those bikes that you saw there, many of the bikes that you saw at the swap, none of those bikes were registered, but they were on site. So in total, if you had all those bikes that were on site, we had about 300 bikes, truly. So, and it felt good. What did you think? And you've been to enough of these.
Yeah, I mean, this year was probably one of my favorite ones. I think so. I know you were missing like the the mini moto side of things. But as far as the mini bikes went, I think it was a good showing. And there's a lot of people out there, and seen a lot of the familiar faces. Eichler, Justin Bett, Frank from F&B, Rafa. All the big names were out there. So
Yep.
it was fun seeing all those guys and hanging out and talking with those guys. So it's always a great time.
I had a picture that, for those of you who may follow along on the Joe's Minibike Reunion, either Facebook page or Instagram. Instagram, it's JMBR Official. We also use JMBR Podcast. But Nikole, thank you, Nikole, again for doing a great job on the photos. We've been dumping photos. I think we're up to our 5th or our 6th. I think I've got 10 good dumps in me, so to speak. Sorry about that. How about you, Jake? So I'm going to keep them coming tomorrow. Okay, good. We'll check with you after your coffee. But we've got a little bit more coming. Plus, E, did you take some photos and videos? I'm sure you may or may not have. You were busy running around. Big shout out to E. Did a great job. Yep.
The ones I'm always excited looking for the pictures is Nicole's and Steady Garage.
Steady Garage.
They always have the good photo shoots too.
And Steady Garage did a really nice video. I sent it to a few friends, and Nikole said, you should have those guys do your video. It's like, well, they do. They do it on their own. And it's nice because we get the rub. They capture it from such a unique perspective. I love it all. We missed a few folks. I would love to have seen Home Alone. I was hoping to see maybe D. I missed Cleveland Flowers.
West Coast,
so
Temecula Bob.
And it's like, hey, Jake, Taco Bill.
About Temecula Bob.
Oh, what is it? So it's Temecula Bob, right? Who is on our poster. And from talking to Paul Giotto, who was on display, he was one of our swappers on the corner this year. And Paul's supporting all the shows. So he met and saw Temecula Bob, and Bob knows what's going on, but Bob's kind of shut down. Not where he's feeling bad, but he's kind of taking it easy now. But what's your story?
So I picked up down the street, this guy passed away, and his son was selling a bunch of stuff, and he happened to have a crate full of these old karting magazines, and there was actually like a sprint car magazine. It was like a yearbook from 1975, and Eichler actually bought all the karting magazines from me because they're from like the 60s and 70s.
Sure.
Right along all the stuff that he's into right now.
Yeah, not only does he collect the carts, he collects the magazines and every other bit.
But I opened this... it's like a racing yearbook from 1975, and it's full of just Bob Oliveira. It's all Temecula Bob in there. First place, he's in there with like all the trophy girls, and I was just like, no way, I had this sitting in my garage. I had no idea. And it was just, he was like a superstar in that year.
Humble.
Yeah.
And let's face it, race car drivers are not really known for being humble. It's a competitive individual sport. It's you against. No idea. Oh yeah.
I remember that he was into it. I've seen some of his posts and stuff, but I had no idea he was at that level.
There's the poster, which got a nice reception as well. We still have some of those available if you're interested in purchasing any of the top 50 mini bike and mini moto personalities. Included in there is the picture of Temecula Bob, and it is the one with him with the two gals on the side of him in his white race suit. And he obviously had just won because he had that look on his face. I have prodded him a couple times, and I do it with just hope. It's almost like asking you to take on another project. It's like, you reach out, but you don't want to be a pain in the ass. And I had been asking him to come out. And my recent request to him is to get his address so I can send him a few posters. But he knows through the social media. And Bob, if you're listening now, too bad you couldn't make it, but we're always thinking of you. Getting a Temecula Bob frame, I'm lucky enough to say I have one over there and one with him, and one that some prince has that had more money than I had brains. So the fact is that they're living well. Those of you who are lucky enough to have had or to come across a Temecula Bob frame, grab it. Wouldn't you say, Jake?
Hang on to it. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hang on to it. Yeah, all right. So, the event was good. We had a lot of, I think, good things. I mentioned that after the event, like I dig talking to people after the show. And a lot of it I know is a little bit of, hey, we had a great time. Thanks. You're the best. Yeah, okay, great. Then afterwards, it's like after the day after, reality sets in. And that's usually pretty good too. By that Monday, you start to hear just about everything. You start to see some of the posts, some of the videos will pop up. And throughout this whole week, we've been not only fortunate enough, but we've been entertained with all the cool photos and all the videos that have been posted by the folks that have come to the event. So we continue to appreciate that. We're JMBR Official on Instagram. So I see some folks that are posting photos. Put us on there because I guess more people will see it as a result. But continue to do that. We announced the winners in a pretty prompt fashion this year. I was very proud about that. Historically, I had taken some time before I was able to identify through all of our cryptic notes, which I still use to control my life and this podcast. But we were
just like it like this that day.
And-
Just a little more scribble.
And you'll notice that I never refer to that,
Yeah.
but just by the sheer fact that I wrote it down, it kind of stays here. At least most of it does. But one of the things that we hadn't done was quickly identify the winners. So we did that. We even were able to identify, thanks to the coordination and the ACE production team that we had with Emmanuel in place. We have the names of the people, like Eric from Studs. Gave away some cool prizes, that backyard bully engine, those new wheels. And you were talking about cool prizes this year, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Like everybody was going
Yeah,
up.
it seems like everybody you talk to kind of put in something for the prizes. And it wasn't like most guys didn't put in just one thing. There was like multiple things. And like I remember, Rafa put in multiple things. Frank put in multiple pipes. It's like
Yeah, it's
everybody
like
put
addictive.
in more than one thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and thank you
Yeah.
for your contribution as well.
Yeah, definitely.
In addition to your exhaust, you mentioned F&B. We had engines, we had wheels, we had carburetors. Brian built a custom alky and gas carburetor.
Some racing stuff.
We're still giving shit away because I had asked Jake when he had shown up if he can get Arleo on the phone. Arleo, congratulations. He was the dyno winner. And thank you to our friends at Small Engine Cams. Tim stepped up and sponsored the dyno this year. We appreciate that so much. Arleo, Subzero was almost at 34 horsepower, 33.83.
I think it was screaming, and I mean, even when it came into the power band, it started spinning the tire, and it was just smoking the tire on the dyno. So
Still going.
I mean, it's probably a little lower than it should be, but
Yeah.
yeah, that thing's a monster.
So
That's a cast motor with a billet head too, so that's pretty good power for a cast motor.
he's really leapfrogged. Wouldn't you say over the last, I know he's silently been making shit happen up there. And
Yeah.
everyone here didn't want to believe it or I'll say it again. They didn't want to believe it, but it's pretty much, he's got to be the baddest ass out there right now when it comes to
yeah.
building horsepower.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's out there. It's kind of it's like the culture out there. We test, and that's pretty much, we do it like nonstop. Like for a while, we did it for like nonstop when we got into the drag racing stuff, and we would just be out there on our street on 80th, like just run after run, and we change something, run it again, and we had so many days where we just like go home disappointed, like, man, we're not figuring stuff out, we're not getting new results, and then slowly, like just from all the testing, we started to figure out, like fine tune all that little stuff we were pretty much after.
Does it kind of work out where it may be like some late Tuesday night or maybe Friday afternoon where either you get a text or a phone call from maybe Arleo or maybe one of the other guys up there at the AV who say, dude, I think I got it figured out. We got to do a little bit with the heads, or I want to try this different clutch, or do you find yourself in the middle of those light bulb moments with a lot of your guys where either you something dawns on you that you guys haven't been able to figure out and it finally clicks, or does most of it happen during the actual R&D?
Yeah, I mean, it's Arleo's pretty good because he's pretty relentless on the small engine stuff. That's kind of like the part he took over in our group, is just building the engines and just mainly focusing on like the horsepower of things. But yeah, he calls me up and has like an idea, and like I'll kind of talk back with him whatever I think. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. We go back and forth a lot, and then we'll go out there and test something. Like he'll take notes on like all his different setups, and he just really gets into the details of it, and that's
that's
how he gets.
Oh,
the
that's
winners
what
that he
makes.
gets.
And I was going to say that's what makes the difference, and it is the time
what
out
gets the
there.
results, yeah.
And it's the time out there on the
Yeah.
bike, without a doubt.
Yep.
So we saw a lot of cool folks. We missed a few. We'll catch them again. More often than not, we'll see some folks that won't leave the hobby. They just take a little pause, right? They take a little break. We've all done it. It was good to see Evil Ed. Saw him out there.
Yep, he was out there.
Guardrail Dave. So I was talking to Minibike Paul after the show, and as I was saying, by Monday after the show, you're typically hearing about everything, good and bad. And one of the things that I always enjoy is a phone call from Minibike Paul. Minibike Paul, we recognized on site as well. He's the OG. He put together all those cool rides up there in Camarillo, right? And Paul said, Joe, I had a really good time at your show. He said around 11 o'clock till about 1, when you start, giving away a lot of the bigger prizes and the judging's done and all that, it's kind of coming towards the end. He said, there's a little bit of time, I think, that you may want to consider an idea. and he said, "What if you know Paul was on his wheelchair, and he said as he rolled around and he was looking at the bikes, they would get his attention, and he had some questions, or I guess he wanted to talk to the owner to find out more about a particular bike, and the more bikes he looked at, the more questions he had." And unlike these traditional car shows where these guys are fucking cemented in these lawn chairs next to their cars, and all they do is want to talk about their car, which is the most boring fucking thing I ever felt happened at a car show. Our mini bike show isn't like that. Our guys want to park their bikes and go see you and go see the exhibitors and go see the other bikes. They're not sitting around and I do
You
see
don't see nobody around their own bike.
You don't.
They come and they're gone,
Yes.
talking to everybody else, and they're just looking at their bike from a distance, like, oh, who's over there looking at my
you
bike?
got it. Or it's like, all right, my bike's good.
Yeah.
Look, we're fortunate, dude. You don't for a second worry about somebody taking your bike or somebody sitting on your bike. It's please, thank you. I appreciate it. It's more thank you. It's more please. So Paul made a good point. Our registration cards simply have your registration number, your entry number, and your name and the make and model of the bike. It doesn't give you details. Like, it doesn't say it's got an Isky cam. It doesn't say that it's got a larger size tire. It doesn't say it's got the original tank, for example, or where I got the seat, or a lot of those things that people have questions about. I got tons of, I overheard, because when you walk by your bike, isn't it cool sometimes where it's not like they know it's your bike? No, it's going to be tough for you, but I don't register my bike, so there's no tags on them. And I was curious, and people got like a good USA feel for that. Somehow it struck a chord there. And some people just always love choppers, and they've always loved West Bends, yet you don't typically see those two. So I was pretty happy with that. I had that on the shelf for a while, Jake, and it was just looking for a home.
I love that bike, yeah.
Yeah, and as I hear that, and I heard that from guys who really count, like Jason really liked it, and a few others. It's like, hey, what's the old expression? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. So that was a little idea I had. Again, thanks Justin Eichler for the tank. So by Monday, I had heard everything, and they talked about. Paul said, "Hey, look, do something." So we're going to do something. We're going to come up with the Joe's Minibike Reunion stage. So from about 11 to about 1, we'll try to select, and we'll select. It's not like we need you to volunteer to come up. I mean that respectfully, but as our judges are going around, maybe as I'm going around, or other people that are a part of the show go around, and they see a unique bike, then those bikes will be noted, and you'll be invited to come up to, we'll have our main stage that Clarence works from, and then we'll shift Clarence over to an adjoining stage. Clarence, which is great. In fact, shout out to Clarence.
Story with Clarence too.
Oh, good. I love him. I got to help him with a website now.
Does he watch this?
He does. He
Yeah?
claims
All
to,
right.
like a lot of people. But if you look at
We'll see.
if you look at any of the views, it's like, well, me and my wife watched it, and then if you look at comments, no one watches it.
Yeah.
So this whole viewership stuff and comment and like, we're not doing much there. But I do think people watch it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have another stage so you can roll your bike up. You won't have 20 minutes, right? But we'll find out who you are. We'll find out what the bike is. We'll talk a little bit about why it's the best thing since the napkin. And if folks want to find out a little bit more, we'll give them an idea of where you're parked. Okay, hey, if you want to see a little bit more about Joe's chopper, he's parked next to Jake Moe, underneath the big tree, whatever. So we're going to do that. The other thing that someone brought up was something that when I heard it, I felt really good because I already thought of that idea a while ago. It was like, hey, Joe, I know you talk...
Light bulb moment.
Kind of. People know me through SEMA. In fact, for a long time, that's where I earned my reputation and my money, selling and being a part of that show. I had mentioned SEMA Fest, which is upcoming next week, November 3rd and 4th at the Las Vegas Festival Grounds on the Strip. I'll be there as well as 30 other exhibitors and a huge list of recording artists from Incubus, Third Eye Blind, Imagine Dragons, Bush, Wiz Khalifa. In fact, I got a little buzz just saying that, Jake. Wiz Khalifa. So we're going to be out there, but through SEMA, people have, I've stolen a couple of good ideas, and they have an event called Battle of the Builders, which you're probably familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
All the baddest hot rod builders out there, right? So I said, hey, look, let's do one for mini bikes. There'll be a little bit of a buy-in, because not everybody can participate. I know that there are opportunities. I think OMB had a build-off where it's all online, but this one you would have to, and we'd kind of qualify people just by the sheer fact that you would have to financially enter and pay, and you would get a 2-piece frame. And at the time, I was thinking taco. If you look behind There's an old billboard, Jake. You may see it. It says Minibike Buildup. See that board right there?
Yep.
And it included this promotion. So let's just say you and I wanted to enter this Joe's Minibike Reunion Buildup. We would pay a fee to enter. And typically it covered the cost of that frame kit. So it was a few $100. You had to start with that frame and neck. And then you get to take it wherever you wanted to go.
Okay.
You would be encouraged to use sponsors' products, so that if Small Engine Cams was a sponsor of it, you would not be forced to, yet you would be encouraged to. If let's just say that maybe Bridgestone Tire, or for that matter, Mikuni Carburetors, or pick somebody, Moe Custom Pipe. If you used those contingent sponsors who were supporting the event, which again you wouldn't be forced to, you'd have certain benefits. You'd not only get the product to use, but you would also be in a situation where you may be able to have even a better rapport with that manufacturer. So the point being that we'd like to get it into maybe 12 of the top builders out there, individual or teams, and have you purchase that frame, enter, and have a specific period of time, which would obviously be, it would have to be, no. You have to enter, and you have to enter, and you have to be locked in, let's just say by June 1st or July 1st.
Okay.
That's the deadline. And then you show up with whatever your end result is, and you're judged on site.
Be cool.
It would be a build-off.
But everybody has to use the same.
You have to start off with a two-piece frame.
Okay.
You can go with wherever you want from that point. You can go electric. You can go fucking turbo. You can go big block, small
block.
block.
Be some kind of rules on modifications.
There certainly will. There certainly will. Okay. Engine size, particularly, wheel size.
Keep the frame one piece. Like you can't modify it. Well,
maybe we would do two classes because look, so now we're talking about it. There could be many good ideas, and we invite you to send in yours. But what if we were to do that? Let's keep it simple. Jake brings up a good point. Hey, wait a minute. Can we start cutting and extending? My initial reaction and what my original thought is, you do whatever the fuck you want to do. You do. If you decided your version of it was going to put on two Azusa wheels and a stock motor and you showed up, you're probably not going to win.
Yeah.
And you probably, and I would know because, again, it's not anybody who wants to enter. You'll be invited to enter. We'll have those folks that submit their request to enter, to be reviewed, and we'll kind of, how would you say, we'll kind of qualify them. You're going to get a sense. Like if Bobby and Timmy, the young guy and his son want to enter with their new Coleman, they're probably not going to do it, right? They're probably not going to be with there. So there'll be some things to go. Just a couple ideas. Not really the focus of the podcast, but just want to throw a couple of those things off.
But it might be cool to just keep the frame, and you can modify other parts that you put on it too. Just kind of keep it, not too drawn out either.
What would you be worried about if someone would then go to a complete stretched drag bike submission compared to?
Just get too deep then, what I mean?
What is too deep?
With fully modified, they might just completely change the look of it.
Got it.
Or like that, if you use that style frame,
Yep.
maybe it'd probably be the best idea to just keep it.
Yeah.
You got to keep that shape of frame. You can add brackets and add stuff onto it, but
maybe
not change or distort the actual layout.
Maybe. Good ideas. To me, I'll be more than happy to look at anybody, and you would be one of the first guys that I would call up to have that input. I'm sure many others would. And look, I tried it before. What you don't see on there was a $5,000 planned payout on that board, which I was willing to put up.
Dang.
Okay. Now look, I've gotten a lot fucking smarter since the time I came up with that idea, and now. But it could conceivably be something that would have not only a good payout. I get the sense that I could have a place for it where it could be and would be recognized at SEMA, at least at SEMA Fest next year, so that winter, right after he won in October, in November, he would be out at the SEMA show, getting some exposure. So,
because I mean, you really think about it, any of these top builders. You pull up with a nice little custom mini bike, they're gonna think that's cool.
Oh, dude!
I mean, I don't care who it is, like Chip Foose or Freiburger, whatever. They're gonna look at that stuff, and they all love mini bikes. Well, you see them on the shows,
dude. It's when you see the GI Joe Footlocker or the Mickey Mantle baseball card or the Schwinn Stingray. Mm-hmm. None of that shit that bothers you that whole day or week or month. It's like, oh, let me say, I remember I had one of these, and you go right back to it. Yeah. I've always said that with mini bikes, but it's true. Anything from the '60s and '70s. And you know what? All the things we love the most could really kill us. That's the cool thing about it, too. In somewhat of a bizarre way, they were all. All right, so I wanted to have Jake back because he's a good sounding board. And, Congratulations, first of all. Thank you for helping out with the judging, and thanks to all of our judges who helped out. I thought we did a really good job. You won Best Drag Bike, and that was some formidable competition out there. What do you think? What was it that you think ultimately, from what you heard, what is it about that bike that people really like? Just outside of its just pure raw Jake Moe look, was there something or a couple of things particularly that folks are really digging on with that bike?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that bike, there's really nothing. I mean, there's nothing stock or nothing that's kind of normal on it. Like the whole, even starting at the heart of it, the engine it's a custom clone block that is. I got it from overseas when Charles Mosley was like shipping some stuff over, but it was like an older 224 block where they actually had head bolts moved and stuff, and they were a little thicker, so it can fit the bigger sleeve. Custom carrier head. It's fully welded, so even when they just look at the engine, it's completely different. And then I found a guy on Facebook, and he custom built this ignition system for me. So everybody was tripping out, like looking like, what is this? What's the battery for? Where's the coil? Because it has no like basic style mini bike ignition, which you always see like a little
ignition box or
the ignition pickup or magneto or whatever. And then it had dual plugs, so there's wires running everywhere, and it's like, I don't know, the frame's custom, the forks are custom, the front wheel's different. It's Junior Dragster, like skinny front wheel.
The engine mount alone looks so well engineered and just so, it sets the tone for the bike.
I've been building it for years, like probably 3 years or something like that, but it's just a little bit here and there. It was kind of like my little side project when I wasn't working on other things, which is kind of rare.
Well, congrats right out of the box.
Yeah, thank you.
So you have had a history of raw builds.
Yep.
What is it with you and paint, or you and no paint? Is there a story behind that? Is it just that
not affording it?
Well,
in the early days anyway, but that's kind of where it came from. And in my early days, I would just build something and I just wanted to ride it. Like I didn't really care about all the other, the paint,
the lipstick
and
and makeup
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get out there and ride. And a lot of times, I guess it mainly came from like the racing days, because when I was racing a lot, I just wanted to throw the bike together, get out there and race. Yeah.
Sure.
So
how
was
interesting?
just like an extra thing that didn't really need to be there to go fast.
But how accurate of a canvas it's turned out to be to showcase really your talent as a welder and fabricator too. And I know you at least from the time we've spent together over this last decade with mini bikes, and you've never been one to. There's Instagram posts that benefit folks, and there's Instagram posts that benefit the poster. You've never been that guy, but your work is amazing, and it really does. I see the wow factor with the few bikes that you've built for me that I own. Frankenstein's one of the ones that gets probably the most attention, and one of my favorites. But that raw look really gets to showcase your talent, because you like to cut it up and weld it and extend it and lower it and chop it up again.
It's funny because I struggle with that too, because actually a lot of times, like, I have so many little details and stuff that when I post on social media, that's why I love the show, because it's a nice platform to come in and bring, and people can see it in person and really see the details in the work, which is different from just posting something online. Like so many things. Yes. Folks, again, thanks for listening in. This is Joe's Minibike Reunion. It's our post-reunion podcast. If you'd like to pick up a little bit of a memento from the event, we've got some hats and T-shirts and caps and banners and all this other stuff. It's free shipping with the pricing, and we're also sending out some decals and pins that we have left over. We also have some of the posters that are available. We'll send them out in a tube. I've got a bunch of them going out this week. Those of you who order those, thanks for your patience. It's a pain in the ass for those fucking tubes. I swear, just try to carry more than 3 tubes. Watch what happens, man. It's like holding a holding a bag with water in it, falling out. Stack well.
And poor Linda and I are in there rolling those tubes and putting rubber bands and cutting our fingers. And it's like, so we have some other ideas. Again, thanks, E, for the great creative work on the posters. We've got some other ideas. I see that, and I kind of love this. We seem to be inspiring folks continuously. The friends at Fastlane have a calendar that's out. You may want to check them out at Fastlane Racing Mini Bikes. They were on site at the event. In fact, this would be a good time to mention some of the other folks, including you, that were on site. Thank you, Jake.
No problem.
This map's getting a little bit bigger here. As you walked in, we had our friends from 605. Thank you, 605. What a great turnout.
Yeah, these guys are awesome.
I swear. Big shout out to all
In
of our...
person, they're cool. They come up to you, give you stickers,
Yeah, it
was just a good
family.
time talking with them. I don't see them too often, so when I was out there, they came up and said hi, gave me stickers.
It's family,
awesome.
and I had him on the podcast. In fact, I invited Henry and his dad, Slack Boogie, over to... Henry helped me pull out some of the winning names, as well as Brandon, who came here with his dad from Northern California. Shout out to those guys. But we have had a growing number of exhibitors, and it kind of started with 605 there, and they all had on those blue shirts. And I said to him, well, when are you guys going on a ride next? It's like, Joe.
All day, every day.
All day, every day. And it's like, I had to ask him a time or two to the point where it got a little bit embarrassing. It's like, we're not those guys. We're not those guys that, save up for a ride every third Sunday. It's like, we're out there, not just this weekend, Jake, but those guys are out there now.
Yeah.
They'll be out there tomorrow morning. I have a group of those guys that ride the mini motos. They're always out. Bing, shout out to Bing and all the guys from Honda Grom Lifestyle. Thank you to my hardcore guys who came out. Shout out to Rudy. Rudy won the Twist and Go. Good representative out there. Congratulations to Ari. But as you came in, we had Dingo Moto. Have you checked out those guys? You see the packaging and their bikes? I keep talking about it, but
those guys are killing it. I'm always talking to those guys too. It's always good to see them when they're out there. Just great people to talk to and hang out with.
They're living it. Living it,
dude. They know their details too. Like you talk to them, like they have like their production style bike, but they know like the next steps. Like they're very smart when it comes to the electric game and the fabrication and
every
pretty much
piece.
putting that whole package together between their team. Like
they're living it. They're living it,
killing it for sure.
So we had them there. We had GoKart USA. Al is out there. Congratulations, Al, being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to you, Big Al. GoKart USA had a lot of cool bikes. Had a lot of their drag bike frames were getting a lot of attention there, as well as the American Racer or the American Flyer, as some of you may know. So that was nice to see. Thank you for your support there, Al. He was out there with scleroderma, as well as his daughter Elle was out there. Enhancement Bears, is that it, E? Damaged Bears. Thank you, Elle, for coming out. That was a good experience for her. It was fun to see. They were neighbors of ours. Thank you for all you folks who have supported that. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about what Elle is up to, you could check them out at damagebears.com. Is that correct, E? That's right. Perfect. Check those guys out. And E was there with the scleroderma.org. That's a cause that is been near and dear to us for a while and will always be. For those of you who may be dealing with that, there's folks here that are like-minded, and if you're able to support scleroderma, we would appreciate that. If you'd like to find out any more about the ins and outs of what E is up to as they try to do their best to not only make things better for those folks that have scleroderma, but how they can make things better for anybody that's suffering with that. So check E out independently. You know how to get a hold of him. Frank from F&B was out there. That was cool. Good to see him. I miss Solo. But
I didn't see Brian. Yeah,
it's college football. It's high school football time for a lot of these guys. So Saturday, Sunday.
JMBR.
Yeah, I know it's true, but
Brian.
So Brian wants to do something with a dyno. He was asking me about the dyno. So I think he may be trying to do something independently. If he is, good luck with that. And use my boy Lou. He's great. Folks.
Lou's.
He was good, huh?
He's awesome.
And he kept the numbers this year again. Congratulations, Arleo. Arleo came in late. We opened up the gates to let folks use the dyno, and he came in towards the end and won. But we had over, I think, 30 folks on the dyno. So congratulations look, those of you who paid, $35 to come in and be eligible and then also get on the dyno. Jake, I don't know how much you think it is for a dyno pull. I think it's like hundreds of bucks if you wanted to go get a dyno pull for anything. So
yeah, probably $100.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good deal.
Runs and some tuning,
Yeah. So, and if you go with a group, if you just try to do it on your own, imagine. So that was nice. We had a new sponsor, Russ Brown Attorneys or Motorcycle Attorneys. If you go down, call Russ Brown. See, I like that, huh?
Hey.
Tim was there, Small Engine Cams, next to our friends at Steady Garage. My buddy Clint was next to Steady Garage with his Model T or his T-Bucket. We had Prestige mini bikes out there. Henry Serrano was out there.
Almighty.
Yeah, they had they have
Almighty
that
and Prestige.
extender. Yeah, they have that extender for the Bonanzas,
Yep.
kind of like that swing arm setup. I like that.
I helped them out with that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. So that's been needed for a while. I'm surprised Evil Ed hasn't cobbled up one of those, right?
I designed a few things early off. They kind of really took it and ran with it, but
Okay.
I helped them with some design stuff on as far as getting the CAD layout for the cutout of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they put their own touches on it and changed it a little bit, which I was perfectly fine with. I kind of did it for them. Like,
Nice.
I ended up making an original one. I think Henry got one of the first ones, and yeah, they've been kind of taking off with it. And they have a few different ones. I like the one with the writing on the side.
Yeah.
They have some different lengths ones with the, it mounts the caliper.
Perfect.
So it's an easy way to put like a disc brake caliper
Yeah.
onto those style bikes, which is kind of a harder thing if you don't have the bracketry and all that for it.
Yes, because everything is either, unlike the mini moto world, like the Groms, for example.
Yeah.
The extended swing arm setup is done for a variety of reasons, but typically it's not just cosmetic. You're going to put like you're going to put, a lot of these guys swap 300s, put bigger engines in those Groms. They extend the frame. They put a different wheel and tire situation on there. They got obviously things they have to change, whether it's obviously chains, brakes, everything else. But seeing them on traditional vintage mini bikes brings that kind of mini moto crossover. You do see extended swing arms on some of these older vintage bikes, but they're usually the bigger, bulky utilitarian ones. They're not really like the kind of those street bikes that you and I saw in JCPenney's,
Yeah. That's kind of a few of the bikes that I bring. The turbo, Maje's turbo chopper.
Yes.
And then I had my drag bike that I brought. I kind of did like I don't know if you noticed, but there was like kind of like different colors of anodized billet parts.
did,
and stuff
yeah.
on them, just
Nice.
kind of stick out a little
Yeah,
bit more. Like
yeah.
I'm normally kind of neutral on colors, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to put like some updated billet stuff on like kind of a traditional older looking.
It don't take much.
Even though it's completely remade, it kind
Yeah.
of makes it look like a little, I don't know, what do you call that, like retro mod or?
I was telling you before we started the podcast about how I had a little clamp, anodized clamp with an Allen head that I had no use for ever, and I couldn't part with it. There are times when you may have something that's either hanging around, like I've got a flute for a carburetor that had been sitting up there, and every time I turn that light on, it falls off and I dent it, but I knew I was going to need it, and sure as shit, on our last ride, those little Allen heads, when you ride those bikes on the street and you're hitting fucking potholes and people, everything's getting loose.
Anybody that rides a mini bike, go through their bike every time. You go on a long ride, go through everything and make sure everything's tight. These guys ride and ride
Yes.
and ride, and they don't tighten anything. Like you gotta maintenance these things.
So I've been good and I've been bad, and believe me, every time I've been bad, I've lost something. Okay, so I lost the flute, and I'm happy now, but I've got to drill the holes in it and all that other bullshit. But my point being is that every once in a while, there's something hanging around that it's just waiting for its right time. So if you got to drop some pieces on that project to personalize it, that's cool. Midgey's bike was without question. Interesting with choppers. We've got one here. This is the one that Dave Miller had put
So much
together.
attention.
Yeah, it was cool, and it's a little bit different, but choppers to me were, and I remember 4 or 5 years ago, there was plenty of them at my show. There'd be 3 or 4 Bonanza choppers. There'd be another custom one. There'd be a Manco. There'd be Eric from Stud sponsored the chopper class 2 years ago. I didn't bring any of mine. At the time, I had 2 or 3. I didn't bring any because I don't like bringing a lot of my bikes now. Those days are over. I bring like 1 or 2.
Enough stuff.
Yeah, right. So I only bring a couple of bikes, and obviously I'd much rather have the space for somebody else's bike. I see mine enough. There weren't a lot of choppers. In fact, there were none last year, and this year there were only a handful. And Midgey's really, let's face it, a turbo on a chopper that had to take home the prize, and rightfully so. There was that Hidaka, that 68 Bonanza chopper that won the Joey Award, which is my award that I give to a bike that I think just visually exemplifies the event. That bike is that wish bike I think we all had, but Midgey's turbo chopper, that was badass. Tell folks a little bit about that bike.
Yeah, so the Chopper T, that's what he named it, Chopper T. Chopper Turbo. But yeah. We actually made like this cool little Halloween sign with like lightning and stuff on it.
I didn't read
and I
it.
put it on the bike, and before we went to the show, he took it off. So
Oh, did he? Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna have to remake something and make it work. But anyways, I think it's a 16 horsepower.
Yeah, it looks like one of
Briggs
those-
& Stratton Vanguard engine.
Yeah.
We pulled it apart, put billet rods, new rings, billet flywheel. We ported the heads, put a better spring kit on it so it'll rev a little more with the turbo.
Yep.
And then turbo has pressurized oiling. The engine already comes with oil filter and pressurized oiling, so we had to plumb a line that oils the turbo, and then it returns oil back into the engine.
What about 8 pounds of turbo or boost on that? Or
12.
12?
Yeah.
Damn.
He actually just posted a video. If you guys check it out.
Oh, where can they watch that?
His Instagram is Dead Stone, and then I think he tagged me in there as well, so you can see it on my page as well.
And what's your tag? MoFabCo?
MoFabCo, yeah.
Yeah.
But he has a video of them riding it, and it shows the boost gauge, and you could see it go past, just barely past 10.
No shit.
Yeah, it boosted like 11 or 12 pounds, I think, of boost on that.
That was one of those sleeper bikes where, you know, because I was looking at it, and then I was looking at it again, and you guys obviously knew what you were looking at. Other folks would walk by it, and then they'd hit the other guy.
There's
it's like,
something
it's like,
about that
dude,
bike.
come here. It's
Yeah.
like, check that.
Yeah.
So, and he's that way as well. Right. If I could just get him to change that first name. All right, so we had. I want to thank some of the
Change
other.
your name, Majid.
It's better than Miha, right? Okay.
Miha.
All right. So we're Jake. You know, we could probably go through this all day. The folks over at Minibike Mafia, thanks for showing up. Obviously, you guys, Arleo, Jason, who just kicked ass at Liquid Torch.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, and you know, for some reason, Jake, I've always associated him with the AV, and I think that you may have put me in my place there. I think just through association, maybe through social media, I got that picture. And honestly, he's such a cool, laid-back guy, and the work he does, he seems to fit in there. So, with all that said, he really turned out. He won 2 awards at the event. Yep. Yeah, there was something to be said. I want to do a couple things if I can before we close out. First of all, guys, thanks for watching. This will likely be our last podcast for this year. Thanks to all of our sponsors who helped us out. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at Dingo Moto USA. They've been supporters of the podcast throughout the year. Congratulations to Jerry. Those of you who know me in the event, Jerry Kalia has always been here helping us out. Jerry was with us. He went back home and he announced his engagement. He's getting engaged to Patty Cittadino. So congratulations to Jerry and Patty. We also were surprising my niece, Big Bree, who was stalled in Cancun and unfortunately was unable to make it to JMBR to perform. She'll be doing that next year, but we got to see her. It was good to see her as well. All right, I have a few other things here. We talked about adding some classes. I'm going to be doing that next year. Best Under Construction was one that we did not have this year that I think we need to bring back, as well as a fat tire class. I saw a couple bikes at the Minibike Mafia booth. There was a really cool blue modern mini moto. It may have been a mini moto or a mega moto. It was blue. It was stunning, but like the chain wasn't on it yet. It still needed to have some things done. It wasn't quite done. I saw Bill Brousseau, who was sitting with his wife kind of next to the stage. He came in. He's traveling on his RV based out of New Orleans, but he had a project that wasn't quite done. And I saw a couple others that probably could have fallen into not quite done under construction. So I think I'll bring that back, Jake. Were there any classes that you thought maybe we missed? I had one that we did not actually find an award for, and I'm remiss. It's I think it was the best big block. We kind of keep the limit like under 300 cc's. It was kind of tough, so I have to rethink that one.
The West Coast thing is not really, we're not big with big block bikes. I mean, there's a few out there, but I don't think there's enough to really. I mean, there's some nice bike. Like out in Texas, actually, when I went out to the Go Power Sports thing, tons of big blocks everywhere. Yeah. But the West Coast, it's a lot of small block stuff out here. And also electric bikes. Shout out to Vinny Morelli. He won Best Rat Rod, but between the bikes that he's building and some of these other electric bikes, a big shout out again to, and I'll kind of finish off the podcast recognizing the winners. I love talking with that kid every time he comes out. He changes his bike. Like he has something he has to talk about. He changes something a little bit each time. Plus, Jake, he's so modest for a young kid. Dude, that kid's awesome, yeah. And that continues to be the purest benefit of us doing this event is the people that it attracts. Yep. We had no incidents whatsoever. Everybody was having a good time. Not this year, right? A big shout out to our
Joe's Minibike Reunion. It's the Brad Elsie People's Choice winner. It was Inocencio Madeira, the big guy with his gray trike. We recognized Arleo Davis as the Dyno champ. Congratulations, Arleo. Roger Haas won the best vintage American bike with his 69 Cat 400X. That was really nice in that root beer color. Mike Fonts had that blue SL70, won the best vintage Japanese. Thank you to our judge, George Akamoto there. Thank you to Justin for judging the best vintage American built. The best survivor, John Cuccia's 63 Centura scooter. John, you brought out, 12 bikes? Some old Thule Troopers, a couple old rusted vintage bikes. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Next year, get somebody to help you unload those bikes.
Got to weigh like 200 pounds.
Well, poor guy was doing it all by himself too, right?
Those are cool though. Those are a trip to look at some of the stuff that's on there.
Plus, it's different, dude. I love old and rusty, right?
They have front wheel drive, with like all these chains and jack shafts going everywhere. It's just you
plus,
just get so deep just looking at it.
And he brought out it covered the entire spectrum. He had an old Evel Knievel vintage celebration bike. He had a couple enduros, a lot of enduros out there. Maybe a dual sport enduro class could be one to think of as well. Midgie won best chopper. Congratulations to him. Jason with his best custom. Damn, Jake.
That thing was sweet.
It was.
Yep.
And it couldn't happen to a better guy. Congratulations to you on the best drag bike. To find out more about that, you can check out Mo Fabco on Instagram.
Posted 4 videos lately.
Yeah, video's not my thing. So folks, because I love the video. I love the capture it gives me. Ari, our local Friday night Honda Grom lifestyle rider, won the best modern mini moto with his cool Grom. Rudy with his 91 Honda Dio won the best twist and go. Jason came back and won best electric bike. Thanks to Sam over at Dingo Moto for judging that. Thank you to Steve Lunetta for judging the twist and go. Thank you, Bing, for judging the modern mini moto. Thank you to Justin Bett for the micro judging. LA Bike. Daniel Rios, that's another guy that you definitely had an influence there. Congratulations to Daniel. That bike won best LA bike in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we built that, did a lot of fabrication on it, and then sent it out to the appropriate people. He had an engraving connect and powder coating, chrome. Or actually, the pipe, everybody didn't believe that it wasn't chromed. It was just polished. Yeah. Which came out cool because it had some silicone bronze welding and stuff on it, so it really kind of showed all that.
And he didn't paint it red. You know, that thing was red. Black. You know,
it
was
kept
like
the traditional color, which I like.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it looked
sweet.
It's
separate, and it really tells what that bike
especially
is.
Especially with the polish and the chrome and like.
Yeah, nice job.
Came out good.
Congratulations there, Dan, on winning that. And thank you, Minibike Tommy, who continues to make me laugh with these videos. Minibike Tommy. So I don't know, Tommy, if he owns Volt Mini Bikes or he works there, but those guys have a pretty clean shop. Damn.
It's coming along, Volts.
Yes.
I see some of their recent posts. It looks like they got a little storefront going now.
Very much. They were rolling in all kinds of wheels and tires, and they're doing heads. Really.
I see it mostly on Tommy's page. It seems like.
Well, look.
It's cool. Whatever they're doing is working out.
Feed the machine.
Yeah,
feed the machine.
Sure.
Feed the machine. Good job there.
Yep.
The best rat rod bike went to Vincent Morelli. Thanks for that, Justin Bett. Yep. Good job there, Vin. The big guy won best 3-wheel. Let's face it, he's got that category down pat. This guy's got terrible handwriting. I think it's Jamie Avalos. He won the first place in the go-kart class. Justin Eichler came all the way from Oregon, won the best long distance. Mark Wing, a buddy of mine who, through some unfortunate health issues, lost 1 but now 2 of his legs. He always lets me break his balls and legs. But I love that guy, and he won the Rick Chu Passion Award. So congratulations, Mark. Break a leg next year. Our young gun winners, the guys of our future. Stop that, will you? Those are shameless jokes. Those are cheap jokes.
Easy joke.
Young gun winners. Henry from 605 Minibike. Henry Torres. Henry, you come up with your dad. I got some JMBR swag to give to you to say thank you. My buddy Brandon Simmons and his dad always roll down from Northern Cal. Mike Kane. Mike Kane is one of those guys who soups up the old Z50s. With the, this extended swing arm and the 140 engines. His is so cool. He brought and won the What the Fuck award, which was a Honda Z50 with that side mounted shock to the frame. It had like a sidecar to it. It was a pretty wild little bike. So congratulations, Mike. And then I mentioned Dave Conroy. Dave not only won the Joey Award, which I gave because I thought that chopper was just so cool. He won the go-kart, the main giveaway. Dave also won last year the main giveaway, which was the GTS roller. So Dave's won the grand prize 2 years in a row. Dave, I don't know what you're doing, but it's pretty good. Congratulations, I guess, on all of that. Justin Eichler ended up negotiating and purchasing the go-kart, so he now owns it. And the slug who won the GTS roller, it's like you had a chance to be so cool. He fell rolling it back. Okay, we present, and then like he all but gave it away to some guy for $500. He had no idea of what. So like, I think that's thumbs down. Like if you come to the show and you win like a cool prize, and then you sell it for a dime on the dollar. Not only does it, I think it just blows the whole spirit of things. But you're just it's like stay home next year. Justin, a couple of my other buddies were smart enough to maybe negotiate and buy some prizes. I don't mind it if you own like a two-stroke. And or a Grom, and you won a F&B pipe, and you want to sell that to somebody because you'll never use it. I like that. To me, that's cool. That's just feeding the machine. But
Yeah.
you know, if you win something, it's not just about turning it into cash. Is it? Enjoy it. Ride the mini bike. You know,
Yeah.
ride the go-kart. That's how I feel. But look, things are tough out there nowadays.
Or your own goodwill. Like, yeah, I'm gonna hook this guy up. Like, I won this, I don't have nothing to do with it.
And
I'm gonna
one
hook
guy,
this up.
who actually did win a pipe, gave it away, didn't sell it, and then he won another time. He won, and I think it was the light kit. So the guy donates a light kit. I pull a number. The guy who donated, I pulled his winning ticket. Anyways,
Give him the next prize in line.
a lot of crazy stories. We're probably running a little bit long. This is the final podcast likely for this year. Those of you who have been hanging with us throughout this year, thanks for hanging in there, so to speak. We had a good time at the event. This podcast typically is just a house organ for us to promote the event. On behalf of myself, Linda, Nikole, everybody over at D1 Productions, all of our sponsors, again, GoKart USA, Studs Racing, who else am I forgetting? Go Power Sports, Dingo Moto, all of our exhibitors, all of our participants. Thanks, man. It's been a really good time, I think. We've been joined by Jake Moe. If you want to find out more about Jake Moe, you can check him out at MoFabCo on Instagram. I think everybody's kind of converting their way over there to Instagram. I'm headed off to SEMA Ignited. I'll be in Las Vegas doing that the 3rd and 4th of November. It's next week. I'll also be hosting the SEMA Cruise. If you're in town and you want to see somebody break 60,000 people's balls for 2 hours, come and check me out there in front of the Westgate where the SEMA show is. That Friday, Saturday, I'll be across the street on the Strip at the Las Vegas Festival Grounds for SEMA Fest. Come by and say hi. There's going to be a lot of cool cars. Going to be the Nitro Circus is there. We've got the guys that have taken over for Hoonigan that are going to be doing a side-by-side demo. We've got the coolest cars, the coolest celebs. I just worked with a guy who is handling a lot of former UFC fighters, including Chuck Liddell and others that'll be coming out. Lots of good things happening. I think for next year, a lot of good ideas. Those of you who have some ideas about how we can make things better with the event, love to hear those. Again, check out JMBR official for Instagram, or check out Joe's Minibike Reunion Facebook or website for more information. It's been a good one. I remember a month out thinking, man, I'll be glad when all this shit's over. Now that it's over, I'm ready to do it again. Hope you are too. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you maybe one more time this year. If not, have a great rest of your year. Be happy, be healthy, ride your bike, build a bike, get ready for the 2024, dare I say it, 12th anniversary. Joe's Minibike Reunion.
Coming right up.
All right, Jake, thanks for
Start the
being
bikes
here.
now.
See you next time, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Next time.
Joe's Minibike Show.